Hey guys, and welcome to this week's video where we're going to be doing a 2020 review of Dirt Rally 2.0. So this title was not too well received at launch. A lot of people criticised that it was missing some things from the earlier games, although there have been some major changes since then, so let's have a look at those and get straight into it. So let's talk about the gameplay options. Now, underneath free play you have standard options like time trial and custom races, which you'd expect from a title like this. In custom races there's also a multiplayer option based around the same system we see in the F1 games, where you can create your own race or race championship or join someone else's. This is quite a good multiplayer implication, although it's not as good as something like Gran Turismo Sport. There's also a historic option where you can play through events in much older cars, which is actually quite fun, as well as a World Rallycross Championship, which you can play through as a bit of a mini career mode, which I certainly found quite refreshing. As a Gran Turismo player myself, I enjoy having other cars on the track to race directly against. Another feature I'm glad they've included is a free roam option, something that you don't see in a lot of games like this, although it's quite cool because it allows beginners, like I was for this game, to get used to the cars before they go racing. There's also racing at clubs, which is a quite interesting yet confusing multiplayer implication. It works just fine, although there's quite a lot of setup to go through before you get racing. It's basically just a hub for creating events, joining events, where you can fight to get the best time on the leaderboard. There's also a full career mode where you can play through either a rally career or a rally cross career. There's also loads of daily and weekly challenges and events, which is quite nice if you're looking for something different. Through all of these you can earn credits, and credits can be used for two main things. You can use them to upgrade and train your race team to make them more capable. You can, employ new staff, train up your current staff, which is cool and gives this mode a bit of extra depth. You can also use credits to buy cars, and unlike other games where you just buy new cars just to get them to go a bit faster around a track, when you buy a new car in this game, it is really quite meaningful, because this game is just so realistic with every different car. They all feel completely different, they sound different, and they all give you a completely new experience. So unlike, say, an F1 game where all of the F1 cars feel relatively samey, you'll be getting completely new experiences with different cars around different tracks, which I think is really nice. There's also so much extra DLC content, such as the Colin McRae series, as well as loads of extra cars. Although, for me, what's included with the standard game is just about fine. There are over 80 cars and 26 locations in total, although some of this is obviously only available by purchasing the DLC. This DLC you will have to buy. It's not too expensive, but however, if you buy the Game of the Year edition, everything is included just in that one package, which is quite a good option. I also found a really good article which has a list of all the cars and whether they're in the base game or not, though, which I will link in the description. So if any of you want to go for the base game but you're not sure whether it'll have the cars you want, say, just go check out that little article there. Okay, so while we're on cars and locations, let's have a look at the graphics. Now, they are nothing particularly special, although they are good, and especially the locations. Actually, they look really nice. The cars are also good, although you can tell that more time has been spent on the location side of things. However, where this game really shines is the effects and textures in the mud, gravel, and water. Now, these just look absolutely stunning, especially in these clips here where you can see I'm driving on the wet tarmac. The reflections just look so realistic. It makes it a really pretty game to drive through. So what about the gameplay? Well, the racing games I'd usually play would be based on a track, so this was a very different experience for me. Now, I have a Logitech Driving Force wheel, so once you work out what the hell the co-driver is on about, this game just becomes so much fun, especially if you have a wheel. But wow, without assists it is still very hard. I did however start to get used to it, although if I'm trying out a new stage for the first time, then my car will often still end up looking like this. With assists on though, this game is relatively accessible from a controller, which is nice, although you can tell that this game is ideally made for people with a wheel setup. If you do have a wheel of some description though, there are all the necessary settings and options for force feedback, dead zones, throttle response, and all the stuff like that. As for the physics as well, they are very, very good. This is one of the flagship rally games, and I think it definitely lives up to that in terms of realism here. Right, so I've still got a couple more things to talk about, but if you are enjoying this review, then a like or even a sub would be absolutely amazing. Okay, so this game is now just over a year old, and there have been some pretty major updates since then. So the main one being the VR support. Now, at launch, this game had 0 VR support, and that was quite a big bummer for a lot of people, as the predecessing game had full VR support, so everyone was expecting it. 6 months later though, a big update came out that brought full VR support for those on PC. Sadly, if you're on PSVR, there is no support for you, which is a bit of a shame, and nor are there any plans for an update to bring PSVR support in the future. The other updates have included new cars and locations, the main ones being the locations of Finland and Wales. A lot of people missed those from the older games, so they were added, although they are part of the DLC, so you've got to keep that in mind. Overall, this game definitely lives up to its reputation. Great physics, nice graphics, and overall good and realistic gameplay experience. Now, the price of this game though is honestly a bit weird. Sometimes the Game of the Year edition is cheaper than the base game, although this all depends on your region, platform, and if you can find a deal. Steam especially has some very good deals on this game, with the base game at only £8 or dollars, and the Game of the Year edition at only $18 if you can find that deal. If you can, then I would definitely recommend going for the Game of the Year edition, as this includes all the additional DLC. Both games though do have all the VR support within. For someone who's only going to play this game pretty casually though, the base game should be fine. I must also mention that this game was featured on PlayStation Plus a couple of months ago, so anyone with PlayStation Plus should definitely check their game libraries, as you may be able to play this game for absolutely free. So that's my verdict. I will let you make yours. If you thought this video was average or better than a sub or a like would be amazing. I woke up with 400 subs this morning, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed. It really means a lot to me. Drop any comments, questions, whatever you like down below. But anyway, that's it for this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one.